This is part 2 of Unit Exam 5 review. We're going to start with question number 6 where we left off. Here we're still simplifying with negative exponents. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite the question right here. Okay, just like we did on the one and number 5, we're going to take care of each item first. So in this one, if you don't see any exponents, give it a power of 1 and go ahead and distribute the power of 2 to everything. So I'll have 2 to the power of 2, x to the 10th, and y to the 2nd. Okay? So we're done with the numerator. The denominator, here be careful. This 16 is not part of this parentheses that is being raised to the power. Only this in here is being raised to the power of 3. The 16 is kind of on the side. It's like 16 times all this mess here. So the 16 is just hanging out over there. It's a coefficient. Nothing's happening to it. So I'm just going to rewrite it over. Inside the parentheses, I'll give the power of 1 to x because it doesn't have any. And then I will distribute the power by multiplying. So x to the 3rd, y to the 12th. Okay? Right here, I'll rewrite it so it's a little bit larger. It's already kind of separated, and now we'll just simplify each one. So here, 2 squared would be 4. So I really have 4 over 16, which simplifies into 1 over 4. Okay? Here when we are dividing powers with the same base, we subtract the coefficient, the power. So 10 minus 3 will give me 7. You can also write 10 x's on the top and 3 on the bottom and cancel and then count how many you have left over. Right here you do this. Subtract the powers or the exponents. So 2 minus 12 will give me negative 10. So I will get y to the negative 10 over here, but I don't like negative, so I'll write it on the bottom so it becomes a positive. Here we're like, I still don't get that. Remember, you can always expand it when you get negatives and you don't understand where to put it. You would have 2 y's at the top on the numerator and 12 at the bottom. Okay? And then from there you can cross out, like these 2 cross out, those 2 cross out, and then you'll notice that you have 10 y's left at the bottom. Okay? And that would be your answer for number 6. Now just notice that I told you with and without negative exponents. So this is actually number 7. Like we have no negative exponents. And then number 6, I'm sorry about the confusion, number 6 tells you write this with negative exponents, and number 7 without negative exponents. So number 7 we already did all this work, and we know that we have 1/4 x to the 7th, y to the 10th. So this is without negative exponents. With negative exponents, let me do that last step that we had here. So the last step here when we simplified, we had 4 over 16, x to the 10th, x to the 3rd. Okay, this time they want us to write it with. This is still 1/4. This is still going to be x to the 7th. There's no negative. This is the one that has a negative exponent. This would be y to the negative 10. So y to the negative 10. So this would be the answer with negatives. Okay, so it's not really simplified. They're just asking you in the question to write it with the negative. And this would be without, because I moved the y to the negative 10, I moved it to the bottom. Okay, so 6 and 7 were the same problems. They wanted you to give the answer with the negative exponent of the y, and number 7 simplified all the way. This is the one that is really simplified. Okay? Now we're going to go to the next page. So this is what we've been doing with the square roots in class this week. So here I have my coefficients, and it says ratio. So ratio means that I have a division or a fraction. So the fraction of these two. Okay, remember my coefficients, they're there. 40 divided by 10 is 4. So it'll just be waiting for me over here when I'm done simplifying all this mess. So my first step is, if they are both square roots and they're being divided, I can house them in together, so to see if I can get any benefit from that by simplifying some stuff. So I'm going to house them in together and see if I can simplify anything. So all of this is still the green portion. From here I notice that I can simplify the y's, right? That would be x to the 4th on the top, and then I'll just have a y at the top. That's it. Okay? So I'm done simplifying it here. I'm going to move it here. Okay? But maybe there's still some perfect squares there that I haven't taken out. So the 4 is still waiting for me. And inside this x to the 4th, because it's a variable, I'll just write out the 4 x's. And then y. And then here I notice that, yes, I have 2 in, so the 4 is still hanging out. 2 in, 1 out. 2 in, 1 out. And then inside the radical, the y is left over. So now I'll rewrite this nicely. Instead of x times x, 4x squared, square roots of y. And that would be my answer for number 8. For number 9, we are simplifying again with no negative exponents. Same thing we were doing before. I'll do the numerator first and then the denominator. This is the only one that has power, so let me rewrite it here. So I'm going to assign the power of 1, and there is none, and then give the power of 3 to everything. So I have 2 to the 3rd, x to the 9th, z to the 6th. On the bottom, on the denominator, there are no powers, just variables, so I'll just rewrite them. Okay? Once I have that, I can, this y to the negative 4, I don't like negative, so I'm going to move it to the top so it becomes a positive. Okay, so I'll have 2x to the 3rd, x to the 9, z to the 6th, and now this one I moved it up, so x to the 4th, so there's no more negatives. So it's done from there, and then x to the 3rd, and so forth on the bottom. Now I'm going to rearrange. I only have that one number, the 2, so the 2's there. The x's, okay, I have all of those x's. So I have x to the 9th, x to the 4th, and x to the 3rd is in the denominator. Okay, and then the y's, I only have one y, which is denominator, y to the 4th. And then I have the z's. So z to the 6th is in the numerator, and z squared and z to the 3rd in the denominator. Okay? From there I'm going to simplify. So the 2 is still a 2. These, remember, we can combine together over here, so x to the 9th and x to the 4th. This becomes to the 13th over x to the 3rd. So I still need to do more simplification on the x. I still have y to the 4th, so it just stays. Z to the 6th, and then in the bottom, they're being multiplied, so I can add the exponents together, so to the 5th. Okay? So I still have a 2 in the numerator. I'm going to subtract those, because they're being divided, so x to the 10th. Y to the 4th is still below on the denominator, and then subtract those, and I just have 1z. And that would be my answer for this. Okay, so now let's do number 10. So number 10 is very similar. You get all the numbers. There's no powers here, so we're just going straight to rearranging. So the numbers I have 2 times 4 times 3, and then 3 in the denominator. Okay, then I'll go ahead with the x's. X squared. So all the x's. This one is in the denominator and it's negative. So when I write it, I'm going to write it up. X squared, x squared, x. Again, I'm not going to write x to the negative 3 over here. I'm going to bring it to the top so the negative is done. So I'll have x to the third. So x squared, x, and then now x to the third. Okay, now the y's. So I'll have y to the fourth, y squared. I'll simplify it. Here, these 3's can cancel out, and I have 2 times 4, which is 8. So right now I have 8. Okay, over here I have, if I don't have a power, it's a 1, don't forget that. So that means I have 8 x's, 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 3 is 8. Okay, and then the y's, over here at the top I have y to the 4th and y to the 4th. So this together will be y to the 8th. So the y's are really y to the 8th over y squared. I subtract, so y to the 6th. Okay? On the top. And then that would be my answer. Alright. Number 11 is to write this as a radical expression. So remember, this is the power on the top. And the bottom is, okay, so I write the 6, the power is 2, you can give the power first, and then the root, it will be a cubic root. Or, you can give the root first to the 6, the cubic root, and then give the power of 2. So either or are acceptable. We did this one in class. Last page of the video. This you had something similar for do now today. Which expressions are equivalent to that? So there's more than one here that are equivalent to that one. So we need to find which one, okay? Here I can write it before I look at my choices how it would look. Like I can distribute the power and have 8, this is a 1 and that would be a 1. So 8 2/3 times x to the 2/3. That's acceptable. Okay, and I see it as A, so A is acceptable. Okay? Another way is I can give all of this the power of 2 and then get the cubic root. So it can also look like 8 squared, x squared. I gave them the power first because the top is a power and the bottom one is a root. And then I can give them the cubic root. Okay? And that looks a lot like letter D, so that one's true. Okay? This one, it looks like maybe I simplified it, so let's try it out. So 8 squared is the same thing as 8 times 8, or 64. So I would have 6 2's and 2 x's. Now remember the root index is 3, so we're looking for triplets. Okay? So here's 1, 2 in, 1 out, 2 in, 1 out. And then those will make a triplet, so I'll just have 2 x's left over. 2 times 2 is 4. So that one looks like that. What this one is missing is that they forgot to give the power of 2 to the 8. And that power also goes to the 8 and the x. So that's what C is wrong, because they forgot to give the power to the 8. Okay? This one you could have chosen any number, whatever you want. Let's go with a 2. Okay, so evaluate would be x equals 2. This would be 2 to the 0, which equals 1. This would be 2 to the 1, which equals 2. This would be 2 squared, which equals 4. This would be 2 to the negative 2. Negative exponent means bring it to the bottom. So 1 over 2 squared, or 1 over 4. Okay? Then it says order the ones from least to greatest. Okay, so the least here, okay, would be 1/4. So we'll do 1/4. In other words, x to the negative second. And then the next one will be 1, so x to the 0. Okay, and then x and x to the first are the same, which they are 2. Okay, and then lastly 2 to the second, or x squared, which was 2 to the second, which is 4. So here are the numbers from least to greatest, and here is how they looked over here. Alright, that concludes the second video. Good luck. I'm sure that you'll do great on the test. Try the question first on your own, and then watch the video. Pause the video, try the next one, do it on your own, etc. So that way you're just not watching zombie-like and not really paying attention. Good luck tomorrow.